It seems like the mic is not audible to the general public. I'm not hearing anything.
Hello, I can't hear anything.
Okay, Prachi ji, are you ready? Shall we start the session?
Yeah, I'm all good. Yes.
Okay. Am I audible to you? Am I audible to you? Can you hear me? Prachi, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah,
Oh.
I can.
Fine.
can.
Perfectly. So on behalf of APTI, we'll start the session today. We have with us Dr. Prachi Cole. She is the director of Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute for its office in India. She has been associated with the Institute for more than 14 years now. An alumni of IIT Delhi, Dr. Kaul has served to international and national bodies like Plan International, National University of Educational Planning and Administration before joining the Shastri Institute. She is a social scientist with keen interest in studying aspirations and social mobility of masses and its relation to higher education. Dr. Cole serves on advisory boards of a couple of academic and research institutes and also on Educational Committee of India Canada Chamber of Commerce. Dr. Cole, we welcome you to this session hosted by APTI, where you are going to talk. And we also have Tapassum with us. She has been convening the entire process with Dr. Prachi. She is a PhD in pharmaceutical chemistry, professor of pharmaceutical chemistry, and she has up to 2 crores research grant. Why she is with us on this session is because she was a fortunate person to have gone on Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute scholarship to Canada. And that's something great. So welcome Tapassum, welcome Prachi, and it's all yours now.
Thank you so much, Professor, for introducing me to the audience. Dr. Khan, I apologize. Somehow I had in mind that it is scheduled for 1 p.m. and that's why I didn't log in on time. Apologies on please accept my apologies. And here we are. So shall I start or would you like to say something, Dr. Khan? Your microphone is on mute. Okay, all right, thank you. So very warm welcome everyone to this webinar wherein we are going to talk about Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute and its legacy and its present, wherein we are trying to facilitate scholars between India and Canada to come together to incept an idea that can be nurtured into truly collaborative efforts towards solving some problem that community at large is facing, whether it is in India or in Canada or worldwide. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I have a presentation. I would say that I would not take a lot of time in presenting myself or what we have in terms of presentation for all of you. I would want more questions to come up from the floor so that your queries get sorted, your queries get answered then and there. So let me begin with, can you see the slide on the screen?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Okay, just a minute. Give me a second. Are you able to see it now?
Not exactly. There is a strip
Oh.
that is visible, but not your slideshow.
Oh, just a minute. It should be visible. Yeah, just a minute. I don't know what's wrong because this is absolutely fine at this end. Just a minute. Share screen. Files. Share.
Are you able to share screen, Dr. Prachi?
No, I'm sharing my screen, but I don't know why it's not visible. My PPT is open. Just a minute. वायरस या कोविड-19 से आज पूरा देश लड़ रहा है, पर याद रहे हमें बीमारी से लड़ना है, बीमार से नहीं। उनसे भेदभाव न करें, उनकी देखभाल करें और इस बीमारी से बचने के लिए जो हम Hi, Vicky. I just need an urgent help. I'm trying to share my screen with for this webinar today and unable to do that. What can be reason? So I click on share screen and then, yeah. Yes. Yes, I have a PowerPoint. Yeah. उस पे तो नहीं दिख रही है. हाँ, it is open. The PowerPoint is open. Unfortunately, what tab is not showing up. You know, there's a Dropbox. There's हाँ, वो भी मैंने कर लिया. Let me just do it again. Okay, I have opened it again. हाँ, I'm on Zoom. हाँ, I don't know why. That's what's saying that I have done this before as well. Yeah. Okay, just a minute. Dr. Khan, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so somehow this is not appearing in my screen. So can you open it? I mean, can the administrator open the file because it?
You'll have to send the presentation. If you can mail me the presentation, I can open it from here.
Yeah. No, I'm on webinar. Just a minute. I think they have allowed me to screen. I'm sharing. of course. Yeah. Get the number from Reshma. In the meantime, just ask Reshma immediately to send this PPT to Dr. Khan. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I,
Madam, please unmute yourself. Dr. Prachi.
yeah, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I think then I can
You can just start, and I will just start with the presentation. You can start with an overview of the Sikhi fellowships.
Yeah, so I'm sorry for this chaos because there's some technical glitch here. We have been doing these webinars for a long time, but I don't know what had happened. And these are called technology-driven constraints that we all are in. So let me not waste any further time. Just wanted to share with you that it's a joint vision. What Shastri you see now is a joint vision of our great Prime Minister, Shri Lal Bahadur Shastri, who was second Prime Minister of India. And the Shastri that you see in our name is the name that was derived from Shastri ji's name. And also the vision that was, shared by Lester B. Pearson, the second Prime Minister of Canada, the Prime Minister of Canada, during a convocation speech, in 1964, our Prime Minister visited Canada to deliver a convocation speech at the reputed university called McGill in Montreal. And in that convocation speech, he expressed a desire to have a platform that can facilitate collaboration between the two countries in terms of social, cultural, and political. And after a while, when he came back, and as we all know that in a tragic incident when he passed away, as a homage to our Prime Minister and the commitment that was given by the Prime Minister of Canada when he visited and expressed this desire, the Canadian Prime Minister, Mr. Pearson, founded this institute in Canada actually in 1968 and named it after our Prime Minister, that is Shastri. So Shastri comes from that legacy, Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute. It's a binational organization, and we have been fortunate enough to, to host scholars from India and Canada for a pretty long time, which is like beyond 50 years now. We have completed our 50th year in 2018, which is Golden Jubilee year, and I can only say that this tells us that to all of you that this is a platform which has nurtured thousands of relationships in terms of research collaboration, academic endeavors between India and Canada. We were founded in 1968 in Canada. Soon after founding in Canada, we were actually, founded in India as well with an office in Delhi, wherein I am the office that I am managing right now. Can you just hold on because there's a call? Yeah, hello? I have started presenting the brief. So if Reshma has sent the slides, I think host can initiate the PPT. And in the meantime, I'm just giving the description, okay? Thank you. Yeah. And it's a binational organization that I have just briefed you about. It's a broad-based initiative that supports the creation of binational linkages between academia, government, business community even, and civil society organization. We provide opportunities for individuals to gain first-hand experience in India and Canada. We have awarded worth tens of millions of dollars to facilitate the Students for Mobility and research, and presented hundreds of academic events like workshops, conferences, and seminars over this period of time. Shastri alumni, we consider, and we are very proud to say that Shastri alumni are the unofficial ambassadors of India and Canada and vis-a-vis. So once a scholar get award from Shastri Institute, we consider him that the person. So we have with us Tabassum Khan, Dr. Tabassum Khan, and we consider her as an ambassador of Canada because she has gone to Canada, she has seen Canada, and she can speak for Canada now with her experience, which is firsthand provided by Shastri Institute. Similarly, a scholar coming in from Canada to India, we consider him or her as a spokesperson for India while they complete their research and return to their home country. So this is an amazing arrangement that we have been experiencing over the period of 50 years time. We have a mission which says that build and strengthen intellectual and cultural linkages between Canada and India through facilitating high-class research, dialogue, exchange, and dissemination. Just a historical evolution of Shastri Institute. As I said, 1968, we were founded in Canada with only 3 members, and these members were all top universities of Canada, which is University of British Columbia, University of Toronto, and McGill University. In 1970, we have started with India Studies program, which was to bring in Canadian scholars and academics to India to develop research and enrich themselves on Indian culture, religion, fine arts, music, and a bit of socio-economic aspects. We were then only and purely humanities and liberal arts driven institution. This happened in 1970. So for a while, if you see, there was only movement of Canadian scholars to India, but there was no reverse movement. And this was realized very well that for true collaboration, it is important that Indian scholars also get to go to Canada in person and nurture the relation, because reciprocation in terms of mobility was also very, very important. Felt that it was very, very important. So in 1991, we started with Canadian Studies program, which was to develop interest in Indian academics on Canada. So when I say on Canada, anything and everything to do with Canada was introduced to Indian academic fraternity and research fraternity. And how we did was that opening up centers, which were called Canadian Studies Centers, and this was done in collaboration with the Government of India as well as with the Government of Canada. And we opened around, in the first phase, around 10 to 15 centers in prestigious institutions in India. And these institutions primarily were housed in some Department of English or comparative literature, because primarily our focus was on those areas around those time. But later on, we grew in number in terms of Canadian Studies Center, and now we have around 25 plus Canadian Studies Centers throughout India. If you talk about Kerala to Kashmir, to Gujarat, to extreme east, that is southeast, northeast, region of the country, we have centers everywhere. And primarily these centers conducted research on that was Canada-centric, as well as they started developing programs on Canada, by which I mean that the courses were developed on Canada. And gradually we saw that there were courses on economy of Canada, First Nation, any gender perspective, folklores, and whatnot. The political systems, like India and Canada are two great democracies, so we exchange views on that. So there were different kind of courses for undergrad and postgrad students were hosted by faculties who has developed these courses, keeping Canada in center. So this is how the engagement of Indian academics started. And very soon, when they started floating those courses for these students in their respective universities, the interest in Canada has emerged. And we saw a great increase in number of PhD registration for the research that was primarily focused on Canada. So the wonderful thing that happened that the youngest fraternity in terms of research have started develop an interest in Canada, and that grew the fraternity that has evolved as a Canadianist, I would say, in India at Indian universities. So there on, this started in 1991, and then later on, in between 1992 and 2006, we also got involved with Canadian International Development Agency, which was primarily funding Shastri to conduct applied research, which is very important, as we all know. Now, this was just a minute, I think, yeah, this is done now. Okay, so Dr. Khan, can you go to slide number 5 straight away? Hello?
Yeah, I'm going. Just hold on.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Madam, you can continue. I think it's taking time loading.
Okay. Yeah, so as I said, that in between 1992 to 2006, we developed and nurtured our relations with Canadian International Development Agency, and we have introduced a program called SHARP, which is Shastri Applied Research Grants. And this was a big change in our perspective in terms of our programming that we have introduced to the fraternity. Now, time with the time, we realized that we need to do more. So we brought in some interactive programs like internship program for youth. And with CEDA, we have got into an arrangement, and we have introduced a program called Bringing Youth into Development. And it was to facilitate Canadian scholars to Canadian young scholar in between 19 to 26-year-old to come down to India for 6 months, be affiliated with Indian universities, institutions, NGOs, and work here on field. And believe me, these young scholars who have come to India have continued their research, whether they were awarded an internship for 6 months. I have seen most of them staying back for a year or more even, and they always came back for different assignments. So once you have seen the geographical region, you know by heart what it is all about. Once you have interacted with academics or the larger community, you can build up your impression what kind of country it is. So obviously, we take pride in saying that we are a great country, and we really facilitate any kind of help that is required from our side. Now, after that, came the time when it was 2007, not 2007 to be precise, it was 2004 and 5 when we became binational. So you would be surprised that till then the governance, of the institute was from Government of Canada side, which means that Canadian institutions were holding the charge. The Executive Council was elected from the Canadian end only. But in 2004, we realized that it's a binational organization, so the governance should also be distributed and shared. So we became truly binational in the sense that we started inviting Indian institutions to join the member council. Till then, it was all Canada-centric, which means we have by then, I think 20 or 22 member institutions, all good universities from Canada that were member of Shastri. But from India side, there were none. So we opened the gate for Indian institutions and universities. And I'm very pleased to share that in very first year, we have had wonderful 40 plus institutions with us joining the Indian Member Council. And this included all first generation IITs, first generation IIMs, central universities like DU, JNU, Mumbai University, SNDT, and whatnot. So all prestigious universities have joined Shastri Institute in the very beginning, and thereon we kept on growing. So Dr. Khan, if you can show me the slide 6 now, that will give you a clear picture in terms of our growth. We are now 150 plus institutions, out of which 115 are from India side. And we are growing very, very strong. When I say 115 from India side, I also want to emphasize that these are the institutions which are eligible to participate in Shastri Institute's activities and programs. So if you're coming in from an institution that you can see in the list of Shastri Institutes, Indian Member Council, only then you can apply for our programs and initiatives. So you have to be a faculty, a student from a member institution of Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute. If you're not, encourage your administrators, senior administrators, to initiate the membership request with Shastri Institute, and in due course of time we will let you know if your application is successful in terms of taking the membership. It is quite stringent in terms of your institution's eligibility to join us, because we certainly need NAC-A accreditation. We need your institutions to be holding an NIRF ranking of top 100. If it is discipline-wise ranking, that you must appear in the top 50 institutions. So it is quite a stringent criteria. You must have completed 10 years of establishment. So these are the few parameters on which your application is assessed. Dr. Khan, were you able to move further?
Yeah.
Because now the slides are important for me to show the programs.
Okay. You want me to move to the next slide or this one?
I want you to move to slide 7 now. Yeah.
Okay. Fine. So we are on specific programs.
Yeah, if you can move to slide 7.
The previous one?
7, slide 7.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is the one? Dr. Prachi, is this
I can't see it. I can't see on my screen. I can't see it. My screen is frozen on the very first slide, which says Shastri
Okay,
Institute.
so what you can do is, Dr. Prachi, you can open the presentation on your mobile. So at least we are in sync with these slide numbers.
Yeah, I mean,
so we are on windows of activities.
I think, no. But I can't see the file that you are sharing with me. I mean, the slide is only on the top, that's the beginning of the presentation. Did you move further?
Yes. Dr.
But I can't see it.
Slide moving.
No, I can't see. Anyways, it is a little trouble then. Would you? I would say that let's stop the the slideshow, then I can only do the talking part because I can't see the slides.
Yeah, it's
moving,
frozen. It's frozen. You're right.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what to do. Okay. Okay, I'll just figure it out. You continue talking, madam.
Yeah, so so I would just say that we have a couple of windows of opportunity, and that's right. Yeah, I got it now. Yeah, I got it now. So these windows of opportunities that we have, or windows of opportunities or activities, are defined in terms of engaging a particular class, particular set of researchers and scholars. So window 1 is student mobility. Window 2 is faculty mobility. Window 3 is collaborative research that we encourage a lot. And window 4 is application of knowledge that you get from these collaborations. And thereon, the promotion and facilitation activity. Next slide, please. Yeah, and when we talk about window 1, which is student mobility, I'm very pleased to share with you. Before that, there's a policy that we have brought in this year. It is very important while you are planning to apply for these programs in coming time. This is an exceptional year. All of us are aware that we are dealing with this pandemic worldwide, and the mobility is on stand. So we are actually devising different ways to deal with this pandemic, but not discontinuing our programming that is in place featuring on mobility. But for now, we have stopped any kind of mobility which will allow you to go to Canada or for the Canadians to come down to India till we are done with this pandemic in fairly big ways. So this policy is very important. As you can see, it mentions that it would be minimal mobility of the scholars that would be allowed in our programs this year. We are encouraging you to get into collaborations virtually and do your work remotely, and keep your work that needs to be done to the other labs or social sites, I would say, or with the community. That can be done later when things are improved and international borders have opened up. Can you please go down further on the next slide? So these are the specific programs that I was referring to. So window 1 is for student and research scholars. And when I say students and research scholars, all undergrad students. So those who are doing their bachelor's degree are eligible to apply for these programs. There are specific programs for the bachelor's program students. There are specific program for master's, MPhil, and PhD. There are specific program for postdoctoral scholars as well. So if you talk about Shastri Research Student Fellowship, I think we can straight away go to the next slide, and I can bring in this conversation later. Dr. Khan, if you can move to the next slide, which talks about, thank you. This talks about precisely the Student Research Fellowship. And as the slide says, students pursuing bachelor's, master's, and MPhil from our member institutions of Shastri Institute are eligible to apply. And research can be done in the areas and fields in which Canadian or Indian scholars desire or require research experience in Canada or India. Duration is 14 weeks, and the value of award is, for this year, $500 to $1,000, because we are not encouraging the mobility part of it. And most of the expenses are incurred when you are traveling to the other country. But otherwise, if it is a regular year wherein we have no constraints in terms of COVID-19 or so, the value of award would be 570 Canadian dollars per week. which means if you are there for 12 weeks, you can multiply it. And along with that, we provide economy class airfare. We take care of all the arrangement, visa fee, your affiliation fee to your affiliating university in Canada. And similarly, if a scholar from Canada is coming down to India, we pay all the necessary fees and clearances are done through us. We provide medical insurance as well. So it is a composite package that Shastri offers, but this is an exceptional year. So this year we have kept everything within the bracket of 500 to 1,000 Canadian dollars, which is towards as the slide states that in so far as not provided by the applicant's home institution, expenses related to subscription of online meeting software, telephone bills, internet connections, affiliation fee, registration fee to access lab facility or library will be considered, if any, under this program. And mind you, this is only for this year or for the time when the COVID-19 situation is prevailing. After that, we will go to our regular programming regime, wherein mobility was an integral component. We will resume to that particular methodology to conduct the research between India and Canada. Go on further, Dr. Khan. Next slide. A very interesting program that is my tax and Shastri. Go to previous one, Dr. Khan, please. Previous one, yeah. Yes. So this is an internship program, very interesting program. So those who are in their undergrad program, they can avail this opportunity. And how you have to do it to apply to MyTax portal. Last year we have collaborated with MyTax Shastri internship program, which is also called Global Link Research Internship Program, allows you to be in Canada for 12 weeks time. And this is in partnership in the sense that the half of the money towards your fellowship, towards your internship will be given by Shastri, and half of it would come from MyTech side. And this is very interesting program because it also enables you to gain industry experience. So while you will be working with a professor, but they will be bringing in enrichment from the industry side as well. So it's a practically very, very enriching experience for our student. And the number is great in terms of we can go beyond 100 numbers. And this is one-way mobility only. So Indian students would be going to Canada. The first batch of 115 scholars were all set to go. We have announced the result, but unfortunately, because of the COVID-19 situation, we have to withdraw those awards. But certainly next year, 2021, we will be, coming up again with this announcement, and there would be similar. It's quite a competitive program. So when you apply, as an administrator, I can share with you that this year, thousands of applications we have received, and we were to select only 100. Cutoff is eligibility cutoff is around 80 to 85 percentile of marks, and accordingly the CGPA and all is calculated based on that particular percentage. So you need to, I am assuming that there are a lot of students who are attending this webinar. That's why I'm focusing on the students fraternity more here. So this program is for the undergrad students. So listen carefully, you students, that this is you. Go to the Shastri Institute's website and look for more details. If you have any particular query, write down to our program officers and they will come back to you immediately with an answer. This fellowship package includes your or living a career in Canada, professional development workshops. They would be arranged by MyTax, linking with industry and research houses, and local global link mentors. So you will be given, there would be a mentor for you who will guide you during your stay there for 12 weeks to proceed further, like what is important for your research and what you should be doing. So linking you, bringing you connections and making you understand what can work well for your research or for your internship for which you have been awarded this grant. Go further, Dr. Khan, please. Another program for which we have collaborated with MITEX is Global Link Research Award Program. This is for doctoral and postdoctoral students. And earlier we had a program called Shastri Research Student Fellowship for doctoral and postdoctoral scholar. It is similar to that. It's just so that we this particular program is not fully funded. We provide you 6,000 Canadian dollar, and you have to probably look for more resources to top up your visit to Canada. While internship program is fully funded, because we understand undergrad students are still young to explore funding opportunities from other sources, but doctoral and at the postdoctoral level, you have avenues open for yourself, and you can top up this funding from your pocket or from your, not, when I say from your pocket, I mean from other sources as well. There's a program from Shastri, which is totally funded by Shastri Institute, which is called Postdoctoral and Doctoral Fellowship Program, which is for, the duration is for 4 to 6 months. And everything, I mean, therein, I think the expenses that we cover are in the range of around 600 Canadian dollars per week. And along with that, we take care of your travel insurance, affiliation fee, medical, everything, visa, everything is part of Shastri's responsibility when you get awarded this fellowship. So this program, Global Link Research Award, is for doctoral and postdoctoral scholars who are registered as a full-time scholars in their respective universities that are member of Shastri Institute. And this program is open throughout the year. So there would be only a small window, span of time when we are close to receive application, but otherwise it is going to be open. And in 10 days time, I think you can see the announcement coming in, so you can explore further, and we will keep the application receiving open throughout the year, so that when you apply, we refer it to Canadian professors who may be interested to host you as a doctoral or postdoctoral scholar in their lab or in their department. So they'll come back to our, so the evaluation process and matchmaking for this program is much easier than internship program, because that is quite competitive and complex. And in this program, we have both ways mobility possible. So Canadian scholar can come down to you. So this is also for the professors who are attending this webinar to understand that this program can be utilized to bring in research scholars from Canada to work with you in your lab. If you are having a joint collaborative program with a Canadian colleague of yours, you can use this program to bring in his or her students visiting your lab or your department for 6 months' time. Similarly, your students can be in the lab of Canadian faculty or in their department for the period of 6 months, which is like 12 to 24 weeks. And this is funded by Shastri Institute. So we are trying to facilitate many ways. This is, there's no restriction that the application has to be routed through your professors, students. So if there is an interest, you can send it directly, or you can be collaborating with your own professor, who will collaborate further with the Canadian professor to bring in two-way mobility for one particular project, wherein a team of scholars from India and Canada would be working. But if you see any constraint in terms of funding that can bring in the Canadian or Indian students, here is an opportunity by Shastri that you can avail, that can be used to facilitate that component of your research part. I hope I am clear. Go on further, Dr. Khan, to next slide. Okay, so those were the programs for students, and we have come down to programs that are meant for faculty, which is called Shastri Mobility Program. And this program is for teaching faculty as well as educational administrators from Indian and Canadian institutions that are part of Shastri Network. And this is to study and learn best practices through exposure to Canadian Indian institution. As I said, it has two components. When it says senior academicians, don't go by that. It is academicians, and I would say that we really encourage younger lot of researchers, younger faculty to apply for these grants. We also provide opportunity to educational administrators. If you are dean, director, vice chancellor, registrar of a particular department or institution, you can go to Canada to learn their best practices and bring in the learnings to your institution, respective institutions for enrichment. Similarly, there can be other way movement, which means Canadians can, when we talk about Indian institution, we are talking about huge numbers. They don't have that challenge to deal with. So they are always, anxious to understand. They are always keen to understand how we deal with these big numbers of students and departments that we have. So they also wish to understand our systems. Herein, this program facilitates this kind of movement as well, wherein these administrators can be together at certain point of time and exchange views on how to administer in best manner their institution. So it's a learning from both the ways. 3 weeks program it is. This year, the component, as I'm saying, that value of the award is kept because we have removed the mobility part of it. So 500 to 1,000 Canadian dollars is not prevailing. It is going to be 750 Canadian dollar per week. And apart from that, any other expense related to your travel is the responsibility of the institute. Go on further, Dr. Khan. A very interesting component of our programming is Shastri Program Development Grant. Now, this program, I would say, allows you, we haven't kept any boundaries to it. So if you have an innovative program, which develops a program between India and Canada, it can be a workshop as well. If somebody, if a professor, this is not applicable, or students are not eligible to apply for this program, you have to be full-fledged faculty in an academic institution to apply for this. What happens here that you apply, and there are a number of activities that you can convene under this program. It can be an academic event. It can be a small research project. It can be an interaction between students as well. So maybe there would be a group of students coming into India and studying or taking the classes that you teach to your Indian students. So they can be clubbing of students also possible. It is an integration of culture, knowledge, and sharing, which means that you are bringing in Canadian students to your class to sit for 3 months or whatever the time is feasible. Similarly, Indian students can go to Canada and they can also sit through the classes. They can be, if internally you can arrange for a credit sharing, that can also be done here. So there are a number of opportunities available. We leave up to the scholars who are applying for the grant to devise a program that leads to development of collaboration between the two countries. So quite an open program wherein we are respecting your opinion and your innovative ideas to come up with a plan that is new, innovative, and effective as well. So you can, as the slide says, that you can, this is to encourage scholarly and professional academic activities with a view to contributing to the expansion of knowledge about Canada and India at Indian and Canadian institutions. So when you hold a workshop, you will bring in people who are really interested and keen to develop their research on a particular topic, on a particular theme, on a particular area concerning to Canada. Similarly, if it is Canadian faculty who is hosting it, it would be a group of Canadian faculty and students who are keen to engage with India. So that's how this program helps to develop and nurture the relations amongst the academics and researchers between India and Canada. The value of award is 3 lakhs, Canadian dollar 6,000, and that can be spent in any kind of activity, as I said. Please go on further. This is an interesting program in terms of its introduction to this current addendum of the MOU that we are with MHRD. And every university, in most of the universities now, we have vocational education departments. They are eligible to apply for this grant. The grant value remains the same as, you know, I would say 750 Canadian dollars per week. For now, we have kept it 500 to 1,000 Canadian dollar to facilitate, arrangements on for the virtual meeting, etc. But primarily, it is 750 Canadian dollar, and there are components that enables a person, enables a faculty to go to Canada to be trained as a trainer, and when they come back, they are responsible to train further by way of convening the workshops, conferences, or offering a course at their respective institution. So the point here is that there are skill-based information, there is skill-based education that Canada has strength on. And unfortunately, we are not very good in vocational education systems. Canada is one of the best, I think, if you talk about vocational education systems worldwide. So there's a lot to learn from Canada here. Primarily, it was introduced to bring in Canadian expertise to India, but later on it was open. So last year there were two scholars, one from Ambedkar University, one from some institution from Mumbai, went to Canada. They enriched themselves in a particular field of vocation. They came back, and now they are convening the similar things for their colleagues in their respective institutions. It's a kind of a train the trainer program that we are very proud to introduce in the current MOU, and we will be continuing it further for the years to come. Yeah, go on further, Dr. Khan, please. And this is much sought program from Canadian side. This is called Shastri Institutional Collaborative Research Grant. Eligibility, of course, remains the same, that you have to come from a Shastri's member institution from India or Canada. And this is to support and encourage institutional collaboration in research and development. It is between India and Canada. As I said, this program was created to fill in the gap between the actual research and policy making. So if you have any research proposal that can fill in that gap, if it's an applied research that you are proposing and you are expecting the outcome to be serving to the as a facilitation to the policy makers, whether it is local at the local level, community level, or at the state or provincial level, or at the federal level, we will appreciate those proposals with open arms. So this is a grant that is of almost 18,000 Canadian value, and it's a multi-year grant, which means that you have a span of 2 years to cover your research, which is quite effective. And in Indian rupees, if you value it, it is around 10 lakhs Indian rupees that you give for this grant. Go on further, Dr. Khan. This is a new program that we have introduced this year, and it's going to be for a very short time, which will encourage member institutions to, to apply for a grant that can deal with this pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic response grant. And we are seeking innovative solutions here. Eligibility remains the same, and this is to provide solution to deal with both the immediate as well as long-term effects of the global crisis in terms of building new devices, creating new knowledge, development of a new vaccine, new methods of treatment and diagnosis, and ways of dealing with the socio-economic and psychological consequences of the outbreak. This is to address the urgency created by COVID-19. So it's immediate, and we thought that it is needed very much. And there's a lot of work going on, good work going on. But to facilitate the same work, we have brought in this particular program. And the interesting part here is that you have to propose this research or propose this COVID response grant in collaborative manner, engaging your Canadian partner as well. And proposals that we are encouraging must include a minimum of one partner from each country, which is like for a binational team. And these partners can be from incorporated companies, including startups, non-incorporated entities, or individual or consortium of academia, government laboratories, non-governmental research and development institution. The grant is for 1 year and the value of award is 20 lakhs for this 1 year time. So we are giving you an opportunity to bring in different players in this field. So supposedly there is somebody has come up with identification tool for COVID-19. Now there would be different component to it. So if you think there is already an idea incepted, by somebody, by a person, by a company, and if you think that this can be taken further, you all can come together in team and propose this to Shastri Institute. I encourage all of you to look into the details. The details are available on the website, and I think this is the grant that you should be exploring in great deals to help us facilitate this grant reach for the benefit of thousands and lakhs and millions of people worldwide. This is not concerning only India and Canada. As we all know, the whole world is dealing with the pandemic, and we don't see any hope in immediate times to come over it. But how to respond to this, how we should be responding to this COVID-19 is something that we thought can be facilitated to identify, and this grant was proposed with that purpose only. Thank you. Go on further, Dr. Khan. This is a new program. This was on roll for a couple of years. I would say around almost 10 years, but then there was stop. It was stopped in between because there were another program which was almost similar to it, but we have reintroduced this year. This would be managed by our Canada office, and this is to support new or all research collaborations between SICI's Indian and Canadian institutions that will achieve positive results, while in the longer term are also promoting capacity building amongst faculty members and more junior researchers. Also to build on the strength of diverse and interdisciplinary teams of Indian and Canadian member institutions of SICI of 2 or more researchers to meet the assigned goal. The grant value is Canadian dollars 5,000, and you are eligible. Your colleagues from Canada are also eligible. The timeline here is a little different to the regular programming that Shastri offers, is between 1st October 2020 to June 2021. Please go on further. So this is about knowledge dissemination. Once you have done your work, and if you have traveled on mobility grant, or if you haven't traveled on mobility grant, but you have a wonderful research that can be shared in form of, book, monograph, white paper, policy paper, you can use this grant, which is called Shastri Publication Grant, and the value worth is approximately 1 lakh. Up to 1 lakh. So you can make use of this grant if you are keen on publishing something that has some reflection of India and Canada both. Go on further. Membership development is a small grant. This one is precisely for Canada. And if you go to the next slide, Dr. Khan, I can show you the details for the Indian one. Yeah, so this is called Membership Development Grant. A small amount of 20,000 Canadian dollars is facilitated through Shastri Institute to organize a small gathering of people wherein a Shastri representative will come down or join you through Skype, like the interaction that is happening right now. And it's in person, so it is more effective. You bring in people, you serve some tea, coffee, some biscuits or some samosa, and we chat over and we discuss about the programs. And those who are very, very keen can come for a closed group discussion as well. So this is a small grant. You can also club this grant with your existing program, like if you have planned a conference, you can invite me or my colleagues to come down to that, attend that event. And in a session, you can allocate 30 minutes or 40 minutes or 1 hour for Shastri promotion time. So you can even club it with your other grant that you are having at that particular time. Go on further, please. This is not directly Shastri's initiative, but we are very pleased to share with this community of yours that Global Initiative for Academic Network, which is popularly known as GIAN program, is a global program. But for Canadian component of GIAN program, Shastri have been appointed as official manager, which means we are promoting and managing the program in Canada on behalf of Government of India. So you are encouraged to invite Canadian scholars to be hosted by your university. As you know, expenses relating to this program are all borne by Shastri, by MHRD. What we also do is when we get to know that, okay, these are the scholars who are coming to India awarded by GIAN, we write to them directly and we check with them if they would like to, whether they are awarded a GIAN award for going to IIT Kanpur, but we check with them if they are willing to extend their stay or would like to come a little early to visit some of the member institution that would also be willing to host them to get the enrichment of their expertise. So we have done that in past. So our office writes to our member institution that Professor so-and-so coming from University of Calgary, would you like to host him or her for a workshop or a talk or a conference? And as a response, when we receive, we share with the host professor, and most of the time they agree to extend their visit for 2-3 more days, and they cover other institutions. So this is about the GIAN program and Shastri's role into GIAN program as a facilitator from the Canada side. Please go on further. Go on further, because this is, I think most of you would be aware about. So leaving that, you can come to 26, I think now. Yeah. This is Spark, and most of the faculty would be probably aware of this program as well. This is called Scheme for Promotion of Academics and Research Collaboration. It's a hugely funded program, 50 lakhs to 1 crore and beyond, is the funding for this program from Government of India through MHRD. And this aims at improving the research ecosystem in India's higher education institutions by facilitating academic and research collaboration between Indian institutions and best institutions in the world from 28 selected nations to jointly solve problems of national and international relevance. Now, these 28 selected nations, so Canada is one of them, and for Canada, they have deputed IIT Roper and Shastri Institute as the nodal agency to deal with the scholars movement under this particular scheme. So this is another feather on the cap of Shastri, that Government of India recognize our potential and ability to reach out to greater academic fraternity in Canada, because we are membership driven. We have 40 plus institutions, all prestigious throughout Canada, that are member of Shastri. So our reach to their academic network is so wide and so well established over the period of, by virtue of being in existence for more than 50 years, that they understand that this component can be managed well by Shastri Institute in comparison to any other governmental agency. So they have deputed Shastri to manage this Spark program for Canada on behalf of Government of India. Go further. This talks about the same thing that I have talked about, broad areas. I am sure you all know about this, so I need not to go on explaining this. But this is the, I think this is the end of it. If you can go to the last slide, I can only say that our program, the structure of the programming is so that it is devised in capsule form in different windows. When I was beginning to say, we said there are windows of opportunity, windows of activities, and they are separated by window 1, which is student, window 2, which is mobility, window 3, which is collaborative research, window 4 is knowledge dissemination. Now, these are the opportunities capsuled and presented to our audience, which is like faculty and students and researchers from the 150 plus member institutions of Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute from India and Canada. So I think this is the broad framework that I wanted to share with you. It was quite extensive. I don't know how much has penetrated, but at times it takes time, but to sink in the information. But I am quite open to this idea that if you have questions now, you can come up with, but if you have questions to come up later, you can even write back to us, and I assure you that our officers are very active and they come back to you immediately. So you can look up to any option that you have in mind to go further with Shastri activities. Thank you so much. I pass on the baton to Dr. Khan.
Yeah, Dr. Raman, can you please join in?
Yeah, Tapassum, you have shared your experiences?
No, I have not. I'll just start.
Yeah, you start now.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Yes, is this visible?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So thank you very much, Dr. Prachi, for a wonderful overview of SICKI fellowships. And thank you, Dr. Raman, for giving me the opportunity to share my experience as a part of SICKI SMP fellowship. So I'll quickly just take 5 minutes and run through my presentation. So this is my that's the airport of Sudbury, and this is my affiliate professor, Dr. Abdul Wahab Omri. That's the university, and this is the research scholar whom I interacted with during my stay in Sudbury. So the project details for my application that I submitted involved advanced pedagogy and collaborative research, exposure to academic processes and student learning systems at Laurentian University. And my fellowship dates were October 22 to November 10 at Laurentian University. And then I visited Alberta University from November 12 to 23. Now, just to add on a point over here, when you're applying for a fellowship, we are going all the way to Canada. It's a good idea to explore other universities in the vicinity. This will not be sponsored by Shastri because Shastri covers only one university and 3-week stays. You have to manage this on your own, but it's a good learning experience. And I extended my Laurentian University visit to Alberta University as well. So the two objectives of the program were to understand the pedagogy of Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry and translate some new pedagogical methods from the university to my institute and research collaborations. So the impact of my visit to Laurentian and Alberta University has been a revision of a few student protocols used in our chemistry course laboratories, revisiting our student learning online portal, and joint publications, which I'll share with you. So these are the 3 publications which happened with our institute and Department of Biochemistry and Chemistry, Dr. Abdul Wahab Omri's group. And these 3 publications are around cumulative impact factor 16, which is a good achievement. And what we had decided is that we are going to continue with this even beyond the collaboration of 18. So we've got 2 publications in 19 and 1 this May 2020. So a quick learning from the this fellowship involved how the laboratories are conducted, and these are way different than we do in our institutes over here, as well as the academic profile, the academic process, and the curriculum very significantly different. And there are a lot of things which we can pick up from that university and extend it to ours to enhance the teaching learning process and bring out good, well-informed students after their graduation and post-graduation. So these are a few glimpses. So we have the first entrance of the Laurentian University. We have the portrait or the sculpture of Mahatma Gandhi ji. And this was a pleasant surprise because this is in touch with the very Indo-Canadian connect that the two countries have. And it was a pleasant surprise to see this. These are glimpses of the associate dean and their labs and their library. And these are some classrooms and laboratory glimpses. So there the laboratories have PowerPoint boards and they have interactive boards where the labs are conducted. And it's course driven rather than class driven. Over here we have class driven labs. There they have course driven labs. So some of the courses, they may have just 5 students. Some of the courses, they may have 60 students. So some learnings on Canadian culture. So I stayed with a Canadian family, and that was my home away from home. If you see on the left, this is the family that I stayed with. And if you see, I shared some culinary differences and different dishes that we prepare with our Canadian family. And it was a nice interaction. So this is outside the academic learning. You also get to learn their culture and their ways. So this was some glimpses of the Halloween, which I was there during that time. And this is some glimpses of the University of Alberta, some of the professors who I interacted with, and I am in touch with them so that we can have some joint proposal submissions and joint publications. Now, coming to the most important part, preparing your application. Now, this is my experience. It varies with individuals. So critically go through the SICI website, identify the type of fellowship you wish to apply, start working on your application at least 1 year before you plan to apply, because it takes a long time to connect and establish new networks with your Canadian affiliates. And it's a good idea to have a couple of professors or faculty members for this application. Because last minute some professors or some labs may drop out. So you have your backup options ready. Send your CV to them in your first email so that they have an idea of whom they are interacting with, and they are more open to collaboration and joint fellowships. Make a very strong statement of purpose. Remember, you have to convince the affiliate, and you also have to convince SICI to fund you. Now, SICI doesn't have a PowerPoint presentation like how we have in SERB and other government funded agencies. Your application is the key to your success. So see that there is a lot of effort which is put in preparing your application. And the other thing is, you're not competing only with pharma professionals, you're competing with engineers, social scientists, physical sciences, languages, engineering. It's an entire vast space that you're going to put in your application, and it has to stand out. So you need to put in work to strengthen it and make it more outcome driven rather than theoretical. And the other thing is, which I find very nice, is to share and discuss your application with a colleague for critique and ways to strengthen it. This really helps because when we are preparing an application, everything is correct for us. So it's a good idea to share your application and discuss it with your colleague. So key watchouts: when you're preparing your schedule, you need to plan your entire schedule, and this is required in your application as well. If you plan to work in laboratory, complete the insurance formalities well in advance. Otherwise, you'll not be allowed to enter the lab. And if the institute has swipe entry to labs or classrooms, you need to make prior arrangements so that you have a temporary identity card. And if you plan to interact with other professors in the university, plan well in advance, take prior appointments, because there the culture is not to just walk in and just talk. And most of the professors may not answer emails on weekends. So see that your correspondence is appropriately routed and followed up. general preparedness, you can book in Airbnb homes, carry some food packets, and these are other things. This is once your application is approved and sanctioned for funding. This is the activity post that. So I'll just skip this. And this is thank you for Shastri, because as far as I remember, I'm probably the only pharma professional who is availed of this fellowship, not because we are not eligible, it's just that probably we are not aware. So for the last 2 years, since the time I have got it, I have been contacting SICI, and SICI has reported an increased number of applications being received from the pharma category. And once you finish your visit and come back, you form a permanent place in the SICI annual report, as you see on my screen. So that's all from my side I had to share. So I would be happy to answer any questions that are there for me. Of course, Dr. Prachi is already voiced her access for questions. So thank you very much once again, APTI, for letting me.
Thank you, Tapassum. So on behalf of APTI, I thank Dr. Prachi Kaul for the wonderful session. And thanks to Tapassum for sharing her experiences towards Shastri Indo-Canadian Institute, SICI. We open the session for questions now. So I'll be unmuting people who have raised their hands. Or else I'll ask you to unmute yourself. So here we go for the session. Rahul Sharma, you can unmute yourself. Your hand is risen. I think you want to ask a question.
Hello.
Yes, Rahul, you can ask a question. Yes.
Sir, my question is to Tabassum ma'am.
Yes, Rahul.
Ma'am, like for postdoc fellowships, like we need to find a supervisor first in advance, nearly about 1 year.
I think Dr. Prachi would be a better person to answer this. You need to prepare work 1 year so that you get, you use up the time to connect. Everyone doesn't respond openly. So you need to keep time for correspondence. That's the reason I said 1 year, because I started my work 1 year before I submitted my application. Dr. Prachi, over to you.
Thank you, Khan. Yeah, Rahulji, this is, if you are planning to take up this award and if you are confident that you will be winning it over, plan it almost a year in advance, which is what we suggest. Which means if you are planning to apply for fellowship this year, the announcement is going to be on. Because of the COVID situation, we are delayed in terms of announcement, and this year is going to be exceptional when the announcement is going to be done only once in a year, otherwise a biannual programming that we offer. So I'm excluding this year because it's an exceptional time. But for regular years, regular times, when the program is announced, what you need to do that you start planning in advance. So you know that the announcement is going to be featured sometime in March or April. So you start preparing for your application and seeking your affiliation in Canada a couple of months earlier to that, with a plan that you would like to avail this fellowship at around what time of the year, because your affiliate in Canada need to know this in advance, because they are busy people and their calendar fills up very fast. So if you have to be affiliated with one good affiliate, one good professor or researcher, you have to secure his or her time very well in advance. So if you say, if you have to avail the fellowship in the month of October, you must start planning for it a year in advance, so that things are in place. When we open the announcement, you apply for that particular program. If you get selected, you abide by the timeline that you propose to your affiliate to visit Canada and be doing research with him. I hope this answers.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. And one more query is like after my thesis submission, do I need a PhD degree before applying, or after thesis submission I can apply?
This all depends what kind of fellowship you are, what kind of program you are applying for. If you are applying for postdoctoral position, postdoctoral fellowship, then you need to have completed your doctoral program. You should be registered with an Indian institution for your postdoctoral research, and with that certification only you can apply. If you are applying for a faculty mobility program under which Dr. Khan has traveled, for which you need to be a full-time faculty and institution that is part of our network. So this is the eligibility. If you are a doctoral scholar, you should be in the middle of, your research proposal should be approved, synopsis should have been passed, but you should not be closer to submission stage, because if you are availing this fellowship for 6 months in Canada, the outcome of that fellowship should be incorporated in your thesis as well. With that vision, we request you to be in the middle of your thesis, wherein you are just beginning your true research work after completing your mandatory coursework or so, whatever the prerequisite at the institution's end, and then only you can apply for this program. If you are an undergrad student applying for internship program, you need to be in between. You should have completed first year of your college, and there should be one semester at least remaining after coming back availing this internship, so that there's a continuity in your program when you come back.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Rahul. Satrupa, you can ask your question.
Yeah. First of all, thank you, Dr. Shah and Dr. Khan, for such a sharing your experiences and for such a extensive information. Now, as a faculty, if I want to avail for the SMP, I think that is mobility program as a faculty, does my institute need to be a member, or I can individually apply?
Yes, you need to come from an institution that is member of Shastri, which means your affiliating institution, your parent institution must be a member of Shastri Institute.
I will just add one point over here. If your institute is a private institute affiliated to some university, then that university has to be a member institution.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a clarification, Dr. Khan here, because we realize that we are dealing with so many institutions.
Oh, okay.
And a particular university may have thousands of affiliating institutions to it, while the kitty is reserved for Shastri Institute. So we get an annual funding from Government of India to operate, which was not feasible for us to meet all the expectations from the affiliating institution. So we have stopped that practice now.
Oh, okay.
What is in place now is that any constituent college of a particular university or institution that is part of Shastri network are now eligible to apply for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Satrupa.
Yeah.
Now, Rajeshwari, you can ask your question. Please unmute yourself. Rajeshwari. Sudeep Mondal, you can ask your question. Dr. Sudeep Mondal. You have been
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you can. Please introduce yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, hi, I'm Sudeep Mandal. I'm by basically background, I'm MPharm, and I'm looking for a research opportunity in India or in abroad. So currently I'm working as an industry professional in a pharma or healthcare domain with an IT company. And I have some thoughts in my mind to do research which will support and benefit the patient or hospitality of the patient all over across India, or it might be global. So it is not only respective to the current situation. It is in overall like a treatment wise how people are getting benefited. So I have some thoughts on that, and so what I wanted to understand is that being an industry professional and from the background of pharma, what is the benefit of this grant from Shastri University compared to the other grants which government already is providing?
Okay. So if I get your question right, let me try to respond back to it, Dr. Mandal. It is so that the institute is being operating through a funding that is received through Government of India, through, to be precise, Ministry of Human Resource Development, Department of Higher Education. Now, if you are from industry side, Unfortunately, you cannot be a beneficiary of the Shastri program or grant directly, but there's a rider. So I have talked about COVID response grant, which is if you talk about the eligibility, any professor would be eligible to apply for this grant. And in the team of the professor, you can join in from the industry side. You know, you can be one of the team members of that particular research team that is proposing this research to Shastri Institute. So unfortunately, you will not be able to become a direct recipient of the grant from Shastri, but indirectly you can contribute to the research which is proposed by any of the professors who are full-fledged faculty in a member institution of Shastri. I hope this answers. I hope this answers.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Aditya, you can ask your question.
Yeah, hello, sir. Hello, ma'am. I'd like to thank Dr. Prachi and Khan, ma'am, for explaining in such a detailed manner of everything. Dr. Prachi, I have a question regarding that. If my member wants to be my institute wants to be a member of SIKI, what is the procedure for that?
You have to apply to be a member. When I say that, if you go to the website of Shastri Institute, there's a tab which leads you to the prerequisites to be a member. There is an application form as well. There's a template on which you have to apply for to become a membership. But your application should be routed and should be sent by the highest authority of your institution, which is director or the vice chancellor. So that person can send this request to me. This request of being member is placed towards finance and audit committee of the institute, which has representatives from MHRD, which has representatives from other walks of life as well. And then we decide whether your university will be allowed to join in the Shastri membership or not. As I explained earlier, there are parameters placed in to sieve off inefficient or not so reputed institution. When I say not so reputed institution, in terms of their NAC accreditation, their NIRF rank holding, and their establishment time that they have in place. So if you go to the website of Shastri Institute, you will find this template there, and you will assess by yourself whether your institution is befitting in those criteria or not. If you are befitting in that, you can apply for the membership, and we'll let you know if you are successful in that. Thank you.
What is the time duration from the application to the granting of that member? What is the time duration?
Usually it takes at least 4 months time, because finance and audit committee that actually ratifies the decision of the institute to admit the member. These committees sit periodically, not more than twice or thrice in a year's time. That's why I'm saying sometimes it's 4 months, sometimes even beyond. So accordingly, that decision is made.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Janvi?
Yeah. Hello. Yes. So, ma'am, I'm in undergraduate program right now. So, if I'll apply right now for the final year. So, what will be the current status of my ongoing semester here in India?
Can you let me know which year you are right now?
Right now, I'm in third year. Third year B Pharm. So I'll have one more year, final year, B Pharm over year.
Absolutely. So you are at the right stage. Don't delay it further. So when the announcements are on, you may like to apply for it. And if you are selected, then you can undertake your award in this year only, because there has to be, after completion, there has to be a semester left for you to complete your bachelor's program. So you are at the stage wherein you are eligible to apply for. Thank you. All the best.
So we have many more questions now. We'll try to conclude the session. Thank you once again to our resource persons. Thank you, participants. And I think have a good day. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Khan. Thank you, Dr. Raman, for having me around. To begin with, there were many technical glitches, but I think later on we did fairly well. I hope the essence of the presentation has gone to people, and those who are interested. As I said earlier, you are most welcome to come back to us. This is just a presentation. You need time to absorb the essence of it. Come back to us whenever you feel like you are ready with questions or queries, or you are ready to apply for a particular program. Our officers are quite efficient in responding back. They will come back to you immediately and guide you at any stage that wherein you feel that you are stuck and you're not moving forward. It's just an application which enables your candidature. So be very specific. We are having a series of webinars called how to write a proposal, how to craft a proposal. If you are interested to attend those, I think tomorrow and day after or so, we are having a webinar for the students category research writing. So if you are interested, you students can also join us, register with us, get more details, and join in tomorrow for this particular session wherein students who have availed this fellowship, like Dr. Khan has availed SMP program, they are going to be students who will be speaking to you on what they have focused on that brought this award to them. So all the very best, all of you. I look forward to interact in future again. And thank you for having me with you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you, Tapassum. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good day.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Bye-bye.
क्या था बकवासी? टाइम वेस्ट।
तुम्हारा क्या टाइम वेस्ट बाबा? तुम क्या कर रहे हो? मेरा उधर चलता नहीं तो मैं उधर ही बैठती।
बकवास